Okay, so bypass air control valve removal. This is on a Series 5 naturally aspirated RX-7. It'll be on, if you look at the engine bay, it's going to be on the passenger side. This is the area right here. This little circle right here. That's what the valve itself actually connects to. It's going to be under your intake tubing. This is where top of your intake tube connects to, with this one right here, 12 millimeter, this one right here, 12 millimeter. Unscrew that, and then it connects all the way down in here to this tube right here, with which is your mass airflow sensor. The bypass air control valve, which is this right here, sits this direction. All there is connected to it is the electrical connector right here. Just pinch it and take it off. Two hoses right here with little what do you call them? These connectors to keep them held on tight. Loosen both of those and then just slide the hoses off. Mine were a little bit difficult. Also, you can see in this one I have just a bolt shoved in it, just because when one of them is unplugged, only the coolant that is left running through this tube will drip out. But once you unplug this other side, coolant starts flowing. And so I plugged up this with a little bolt. And like I said, normally the bypass air control valve sits like right there on these two bolts right here, both 10 millimeter. This top one, however, let's see, this top bolt is going to be tricky because of this right here. While the valve is actually still on there, if you use like a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch ratchet, your socket will not be able to fit onto the nut that that tightens it down here. What I did is I had a 1/4 inch size 10, they're both size 10 by the way. I had a 1/4 inch size 10 socket, and I did not have a 1/4 inch ratchet, but what I did was I fit the socket on there, and if you have the right size flathead screwdriver, the socket tip will actually fit really nicely on the tip of the screwdriver, and it's screwed off fairly easily. I did let those soak in PB Blaster because they looked a little rusty when I first got to them, so while I was taking everything else off, I let it soak. Another easy thing to do while you're here, or to check, I was having a rough idle. I couldn't figure out why. I could hear an air leak for a while. Here, the air pressure sensor hose. Turns out my pressure sensor hose right here that connects to the little metal fitting in a really tight place under here, right under the BAC valve, it was unhooked from the fitting. So if that's what's giving you a rough idle, if you think it's the BAC valve, that's another thing you can check. Mine was just completely unplugged. I just popped it right back on. Turns out my hose at the very end was split a little bit too, which I will replace eventually, but for right now I just have a little zip tie holding it around, which is not the best solution, but it works for now.